So for this lesson, we want to talk about light in composition of your photos. Everybody always asks me, why do we have to do our staff photos down in the nursing wing hallway? And the reason why is because it has a lot of natural light that creates a really good even light source over portraits. So let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. Last week, Ariella took a bunch of photos of Senator Bennett, and one of the first photos she took was this. And this is just basically a camera on auto. And the reason why we see silhouette is because the light is straight in front of the camera. And so it overpowers everything else in the building. So the light in the building itself. And that's why we're seeing these silhouettes. So as she moves a little bit at an angle, we see that we can now finally see some colors, see details, but we're still getting a lot of dark areas versus really bright overblown areas because it is still a lot of light coming in from that door source. So one more time she rotates and she gets the light source, the sunlight behind her, and all of a sudden the entire space is lit up. No camera settings were changed, and we can see a lot of detail and everybody looks really well lit. So the point of this lesson is to go from this to this by changing your position or your subject's position. So let me show you a couple more examples. We had a hard time with lighting at the gala because it was really well lit on one side for the people making the food, and it created this really grainy, overblown type of imagery. So finally what I started to do is ask people to actually switch me sides so I could get something more like this. So now it's not as grainy. We have that gorgeous color in the background that was the entertainment side of the gala location. And if we look at one more example, you can see this couple, they didn't actually have to move. I just went around them. So it was really, really dark. And then all of a sudden we get this because I moved to the other side of them and let the light hit their faces. So when you're doing photography, one of the easiest things you can do is just find the light for your subjects and make sure the light is hitting their faces. So sometimes this doesn't always work. If we go to pictures that I took outside, the left side, Sabrina, she was outside and it was like a really bright 95-degree day. And she was having a hard time keeping her eyes open. You can see all of these heavy shadows that are sitting on her face, and that's because it was way too bright in the day. Now, if we look at Raquel, her skin tone is evenly lit because this was a very cloudy day. So we don't get the dynamic colors and things we would get with full-on light, but a cloudy day really makes for really good, soft, even tone portraits. Another example of this is the photos I took of our work study student Yadira. You can see that we're in the Student Life Center, and this one is the darkest photo, so it's not too bad, but it just isn't the same glowing skin tone that we get over here because this was, again, me filming with the light source kind of behind and to the right of her. This is more with the light source just to the right, so it's getting better. And then finally we turned her so that the light was coming through the windows and hitting her face, and it really just kind of fills out her skin tone. The next photo Ariella took just the other day of a precision ag student, and she did a really good job of setting him up so that the light was hitting him on the side from the windows that are over here, and it still looks really good because this shadow isn't too harsh. This also works really well for outdoor or landscape locations. This is a cloudy day, so we get more even light than we would if it was just pure sunlight. One of the best times to actually take photos is during the golden hour. This was at sunset, so it's at sunrise or sunset, and that's when the sun is rising or setting, and so coming in from that angle, it creates this really golden glow. That's why they call it the golden hour. So as you can see, the light is hitting the face of the building here, so that's where we're getting that golden glow. I took this one at Poplar Hall at sunrise, and even though it was behind the building, you get these really cool lens flares. And it doesn't necessarily have a golden glow here. It would if I took a photo from the back, but that didn't make any sense. But it does create a nice tone for this image that we wouldn't get if the light was coming straight from the top. Along with lens flares, don't be afraid to find the light source that is really unique. So in this one, we were filming the STEM camp kids, and they were doing this really cool experiment where it was changing this flame different colors. And this is a really cool photo and they're having a good reaction, but you can barely tell what they're reacting to because everything is lit with full color. So I asked the instructor if we could actually turn off the light, And once we did that, we started to see more color and see what they were looking at. This one has projector light that's coming in, so it's not as dramatic. So then I took this photo where you can barely see the students, but now we can really see the structure of that flame. So you're going to always have a give and take with your light sources. This one is really grainy and we can't really see anything other than the flame, but it depends on really what your focal point is. This one was a creative shot with welding. We just waited until the actual sparks went off. I looked away and snapped this shot. So when you're taking photos, the 2 lessons I want you to take from this is 1, find the light, whether it's a creative light or just the light in any space, outdoor or indoor, that you're in. And 2, move around. Either move yourself or move the subject until the light is hitting them in such a way that it makes it look the best that portrait or photo can be. So one way to do this is to turn around in 360 degrees and watch the way the light hits your subject. In this particular video, I am turning around in 360 degrees as a selfie and watching the way the light hits my face. And then I'm going to choose the spot that I think gives me the best light, which is this one. And that's where I'm going to snap the photo. So your assignment this week is to do this 360 rotation of yourself or your subject, whether it's a person or an object. And when you find the best light, snap a photo. You'll need to send me the video and the photo.